But of course, if you want to speculate in a smart way, you look at TA and you look at charts like this. What has happened before, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to repeat, but history tends to rhyme. And if you look at some of the previous times, like the last cycle, what happened after that boring phase I mentioned, right? After that scary phase, then boring phase, then we went into the exciting phase. What happened? Bitcoin went up 250%, right? We're about to exit that boring phase. We're entering the bullish phase, the exciting phase. And if we do kick it up 250%, well, that puts us in what? The 240,000 range. That is where we may end up by the end of this cycle. And all you needed to do was HODL. That's it. That's all you needed to do. HODL. And of course, DCA along the way. If you look at a stochastic, a breakout, right? This happened prior. Again, when did it happen? Right around this time frame in October, right before a huge breakout that didn't stop. And this was back in 2017. It didn't stop until the top, right? And that could be where we are heading. It doesn't stop until we head to the top, which could be 200,000 plus. So it's looking good. It's looking good. It's still very early, I know. It's very early, I know, but we're off to a good start. Yesterday, we certainly went up. Now, this is a pretty good sign. Pretty good sign. And what's also good is, a lot of people look at volume, right? The volume was actually really good to drive us up. And this is important, and I've always said this important level, the 63.7 level, that was a resistance, now obviously turned support, and now we're building from that once again, right? And well, actually, before I go more into this, I got more to say. But if we're about to break out of this, which I showcased like a week ago, right? This giant bull flag, and you could argue a giant cup and handle. If we break out of this, that would be super, 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 super bullish. And that would really be a sign. Off the grid. NAB's #1 spot at Epic Game Store. So, I've been talking about how the games narrative have not been hot so far, but maybe a console game like Off the Grid could change things, right? So, definitely, a lot of people are talking about it. Console game from Avalanche, on Avalanche and on Epic Game Store, making waves. Games have the potential to bring and drive millions of users into crypto. All it takes is one hot game. That's all it takes, right? We haven't seen that hot game yet, but maybe this can be it. So, I'm looking forward to games doing that. There are some fantastic games being built, and there are some fantastic games that exist already. They're still work in progress, right? But games have the potential to do that. And speaking of Avalanche, they're going to buy back 2 million. AVAX sold to Terra back in the day, but they're going to buy it back. I don't know how, if they already sold it to Terra, but they are going to buy it back. So, good for them. Solana is having a pretty good day. Their TVL is starting to rise once again. Whenever TVL comes back, that means a lot of liquidity, either through, staking from their, DeFi or whatever. A lot of liquidity on chain. Not all the way back, but you could see how it's rising up towards the top. 10 billion was their top, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. But, another one that you guys have been paying attention to is Sui. Look at Sui. Sui is all-time high, just like their price, right? So whenever you have a lot of activity, a lot of liquidity come into the chain, that's usually a good sign because there's a lot of things going on. So Solana is starting to see the same kind of activity come back. So that could be a very, very, very good precursor of what's to come, right? So that's good. And I see we just started moving some more. We're now above 65,140. Today's a pretty good day. The bullish season is kicking off. MicroStrategy continues to go higher. Coinbase going higher. Overall, Nasdaq's doing pretty good. Nvidia's going higher too. Robinhood a little bit. Everything going higher. MicroStrategy is just going to the moon. See, that is a giant. You guys see that? A giant cup and handle right there. This is going all the way back to 2021. Or you could just look at it like this, where it's just like a giant flag, right? But you could see since March till now, I drew this last time we hit here or something, or when we came back down. But the next stop would be right around here, 65.5 roughly. And then and we're not too far off. We're like 300 points from there. So if we have a good breakout from here and we break out this, that would be pretty damn fantastic. So the next level to break would be probably around right here, 68,000. And if we could break through that, we're not that far off. We're not that far off from all-time high. Those of you guys that listened to me on yesterday in my my Sunday walk video, just prior to that, like even during the week, I read through some comments, and there were just so many bearish people. And I just keep trying to look back. I'm we're not that far off from our previous high. And we already broke through our previous high of 2021 earlier this year. I just don't understand why there's so many bearish people. I guess if you look at it from alt perspective, because there's too many people that are still down from alts, I get that. But, ultimately, we're not that far off from our previous high. And the market is still looking pretty darn strong.